Hi, and welcome to a video with me, Andrea. Everest is out with Colin, my husband, and I thought this would be a good time to film this video so Everest isn't distracting me, although I'm sure for many of you, she's your favorite part of these videos. She's so awesome. Today's video is really just about how I'm feeling emotionally around the concept of having another kid. Everest is turning 3 in August, and and I'm turning 30 in April. And a huge part of me wants to have another baby. Like, I really just love babies, and would happily have a forever baby, just a baby forever. I just love babies. But I really, really dislike certain aspects of making a baby. Pregnancy is not enjoyable for me. At least my first pregnancy, I just was not a fan of it. I put on 100 pounds. They weren't easy to lose. Like, I didn't just you hear all these stories oh, you'll breastfeed and everything will just fall off. That did not happen for me. I was breastfeeding constantly. I still feel like I'm breastfeeding all the time, and that in no way accelerated my weight loss. If anything, I think it stopped it a bit. But whatever. So yeah, I'm terrified of going back. I've worked so hard to feel strong again and to feel like an athlete, and this is just who I am. I feel and being athletic and being physically active is just such a huge part of who I am, and I'm just terrified of having a pregnancy like my last one and putting on a bunch of weight and losing all of my muscle, and that really terrifies me. And then Colin and I were really shocked at how having a baby impacted our marriage, and how it still does, and about how having a kid drew attention to a lot of our differences and just our approaches to things, and I was really kind of bummed that Colin didn't support me in all of my decisions as the primary parent. So when I said I wanted to cloth diaper, he was and fought me, and for a long time Colin wouldn't even touch the cloth diapers. If he did a diaper change, it meant that she went into a disposable, because he was I will have nothing to do with cloth diapering, which even as I say it, it sounds so childish, and it was, and it just really deflated me. And same with co-sleeping, and same with full-term breastfeeding. I just feel he just is kind of not really understanding of all of that. Yeah, it really was tough for us, and I completely lost my sex drive, and still have very, very low sex drive. And anyone who knows me, it would be what? I was a very sexual young adult, and I had a high sex drive, and then it just disappeared, and it hasn't come back. And, you know, so it was just so hard. And then, like, apart from my marriage, just my own mental health, holy crap, like having a kid, if you don't have it, I cannot possibly get you to understand, but like you just lose so much of yourself. You gain a lot. I'm not gonna do all this. I'm not gonna say the things that you want me to say to make this sound better. You know, I love my daughter, whatever. The point is that like, I wasn't prepared for all the things I lost. I had friends completely drop out of my life. Like, someone who was in my wedding party didn't even acknowledge the birth of my daughter. And I really felt like a lot of my friends who even stayed in my life, they just, you know, they just couldn't understand what I was going through, and it just created a lot of tension, for sure, that we had to work to navigate. And, you know, I just wish my friends cared more about Everest. I wish, not my mom friends. My mom friends care about Everest because they have a kid and they understand that, like, this is now, like, the most important thing in my life, or a person in my life. And so they're very interested in her and ask about her all the time. But like my friends without kids, like they show very little interest in my daughter, and it's very hurtful. And I can't get them to really understand that ever. And I feel weird being like, can you ask more questions about my daughter? And all the things that I enjoyed doing, all the things that I loved and felt like parts of my identity, suddenly I just couldn't do as often, or if at all. And the simplest things suddenly felt way harder, you know, like even just making myself 3 meals every day feels like an accomplishment, because Everest is on me all day. Like, I want this, blah, 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 blah. Like, her needs are always met, but mine fall like way, way low. And like, I work really hard to fit in self-care. And like, even just taking 15 to 30 minutes to myself every day to work out is huge for me. But a lot of the time, Everest is there with me, and I'm having to like stop halfway and like make her something to eat or change her diaper, or she's, you know, on my back as I'm doing things. Like, it's just, your freedom to just do what you want when you want to do it goes away. Like, you're exhausted all the time. In the middle of the night last night, she woke up like 5 times asking for water. And you're just like, oh my God, like, ah. And then you think, I'm going to add another to this? Like, I'm going to add another living being that needs even more of me. Like, it actually sounds and feels willfully like it's when you do it the first time, you don't know. So you're just like, oh, I'm excited. Da, 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 da. And then the second time you're like, why would I ever do this again? Like, why? You know, and of course there are going to be those few people who just love pregnancy and love, and just are having a blast. And I'm just like, woo for you. I'm happy for you, genuinely. And, you know, pop out those babies and whatever. But, you know, for me, it has been debilitatingly hard and life-alteringly, just difficult. I didn't know if my marriage would make it. I didn't know if I would make it. You know, when I struggled with postpartum depression, there were days where like I'd be walking down the street with Everest in her stroller, and I'd see all these cars, and I'd be like, I could just walk into traffic and then it would be done and I wouldn't have to suffer like this. Or there are definitely times when I'm not in postpartum depression, but I'm really struggling. And I think like maybe I could like get injured or sick in a way that involves hospitalization but isn't like life-threatening. And then I could just like have 2 or 3 days of just being alone and having no one need anything from me. Like, you know, life is not the best when you're like dreaming of being sick and needing to go to the hospital and like that sounding like a break, you know? And I know many women who have said like, oh, like I went and got a root canal and it was the highlight of my week because like it was the only chunk of time I had to be alone. And then afterwards people took care of me and like I felt like people cared about my needs for once. So like you have to understand it is just the idea of having another to me just, you know, it's very overwhelming. What I am excited for is to see Everest be a big sister because I think she's going to be amazing at it. I think she's going to love it. She just loves babies so much. I think she really will be a great big sibling. And I'm excited to baby wear again. I loved birth, so I personally am excited to give birth again. I think I'm going to kick ass at it even better the second time. I think the athlete in me kind of looks at birth like a marathon of some sorts, and I don't know. I'm really into birth, and I'm kind of psyched to do that again. But pregnancy. You guys get ready for all the videos that I'm going to do where I'm going to moan and groan. You got to stick with me. But yeah, I'm excited. I am excited. I don't know why, but you know, I am. I really do want to have another kid. And Colin and I were talking about baby names last night, and it definitely gets me excited to see what we make, when I make in there, you know, and what the personality that they have, you know. But I'm terrified. I'm really, really afraid. So those are my feelings. I can't be more candid than that, I don't think. And I hope you liked this video. It's me rambling as per usual, but you guys know what to expect, or you all know what to expect at this point. I hope you have a great day.